Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Good evening. I'd like to first and foremost thank everyone for coming tonight in this cold weather. Really appreciate the outpouring and
You
support.
guys got unmuted, so.
Myself and many of the council administration thought it would be best for Mrs. Mita to have a town hall meeting. We felt very important that everybody's perspective and view, whether you're for it or against it, and myself, I don't want to speak for others, but I believe that all should have or represent you, the people, for the city council, want to do what's best for the city. Being on the boardwalk for 30 some odd years,
cupola, if you look at that, we took again the cues from the Del Coronado, and that's a gazebo there, so pictures in the gazebo. This is open to the public. Left and right, we have fire pits, we have seating, and that will be open to the public all the time. And inside the hotel, we'll have an indoor pool, and it's tough to get in our pool here. I've tried that myself before to the lane. But the idea is to have the retail, to have the Ferris wheel. The carousel itself will take up 75 feet. That'll probably take a third of the storefronts that we would have had because we can't keep that carousel outside. That's going to cost about $1.5 million plus to refurbish that, take all the horses off and do all the parts. And we're speaking to people actually about it right now, and they're telling us it's going to take about 1.5 to 24 months to do it. So that's the plan there. Parking 375. This is big. It's on one, we're not going up and down the parking drive. It makes it much easier. That's the drone site, the helicopter site, if you will. And you can see what we're trying to do on that side is to pick out some rides that are not machine heavy, but some other kiddie rides we could put on the south side of the hotel. So let's talk about the gains. We all know about Wonderland. Let's talk about Ocean City's gains and our gains as citizens. Number one, we have a newly refurbished iconic Ferris wheel, iconic carousel, iconic wet boats, and just this week we bought at auction 2 refurbished Batman rides, a Batman helicopter and a Batman jet. We tried for the Batman car, but the guy who outfitted us actually has the original Batman car and wanted to put it next to his car. So I have a video, but my son told me that don't be wasting people's time with the video, so I'm not going to show it to you tonight. Brand new 252 iconic hotel rooms, 375 parking spaces, Icona in Wonderland with all the newest and greatest technology developed in the Grand Seashore style of the world-famous Hotel Del Coronado and the Grand Floridian. And with that, we'd be happy to take some comments, any questions, comments, compliments, anything that's on your mind, please feel free. We have a microphone right here. That'd be great to answer. Nothing's off base, even personal questions you can ask. Yes, this is my real hair. Okay. Well, with that then, if you could give me your first name to come up.
Yeah, my name is George, and one thing I've noticed is all these hotels have disappeared. Ocean City maintained its viability, and it's maintained its viability because these duplexes aren't all second homeowners that are staying every summer. A lot of them are rented out. I used to rent out my place. And I don't see that Ocean City has suffered from the fact that we don't have as many units. I have 2 concerns about this hotel, and one is that the height of the hotel. I'm worried that we're going to start turning into Ocean City, Maryland, not Ocean City, New Jersey, where it's all hotels along that boardwalk. Because once you build, someone else is going to want to build, and they'll find a way to do it. The other thing I'm concerned about is you had a nice picture of the people on the beach. There was maybe 12 people, 14 people. You're going to say you're claiming you can have 1,000 people just in that hotel. That beach isn't big enough for 1,000 people. And I'm concerned, where are they going to go if they can't go way in front of that hotel? Thank you.
Thank you, George. George, let me answer that in 2 ways. As you said, there's a fear that we become Ocean City, Maryland. And I've seen some pictures around saying, do you want this or do you want that? The exact opposite is true. We never be in Ocean City, Maryland. Ocean City, Maryland was conceived from day one to be a city. Ocean City, Maryland is a city. It's much, much bigger than we are. It's not just a summer resort. It's year-round. They have conventions. And another key ingredient is they have alcohol. And I have to answer this one with a question. When people say everybody wants to do it. Why hasn't anybody proposed a new hotel in Ocean City in half a century. I'm not talking about the boardwalk. I'm talking about anywhere. Why? And I'm telling you why, because it's not financially viable. And if you want to build one hotel here, then you better have a lot of cash, because you're not going to get financing. And the reason that the Van de Soleil is not yet built, they've had 2 agreements signed on that. I know myself, because I keep in touch. And neither one of those people could get financing. Now that's an approved site ready to go. So I always appreciate the question, but what's sad, and we don't want to fall into that, is to let fear-mongering grab us, because this is a benefit for the whole city. So George, I understand how you would feel that way, but I will tell you right now, there's nobody behind this. There's nobody's proposed in 50 years, so it'd be very difficult to believe that they would do it now. You said another thing too, which I appreciate. You said they haven't suffered. Well, that's true of the existing businesses, but you remember Watson's on 9th Street, gone. That's 8 duplexes. So it's kind of like creeping moss. It happens, it doesn't happen in 1 year, but it keeps happening and happening. When I was born, Avalon's Boardwalk started at 8th Street and went to 31st Street. They had a movie theater, they had arcades plural, they had restaurants plural. They're now America's greatest bedroom community. Not resort, bedroom community. Yes, they have a little shopping district just like Stone Harbor does, but nothing like the commerce we have here in Ocean City. So it happens slowly, and if you look on the boardwalks now, the same thing in Margate. If you look in Ventnor, if you look at the boardwalks in Margate, and Ventnor, and Avalon, what do you see? House after house after house after house. So I think the alternative, and I brought it, but I don't have it in my slide for you. Just so you know, a by right would be we could build 13 stores over parking. And then we could build like a parking garage, maybe go 2 stories. But I really don't think that's what Ocean City needs in my heart of hearts, and I don't think anybody else here believes that. And you're not going to draw people to the north side of the boardwalk if you just add another 12 or 14 retail stores. I'm not even sure you could fill them. But if you have a hotel that literally, people come from New York and go to Cape May when they do their lighting of the Christmas tree there, and Curtis Paschal does his Winter Wonderland. This hotel is so magnificent, and I say that, we put a lot of time and effort into it, but people will come just to see the hotel. And I think the kind of people that, we'd be very happy to have here, and be very happy to, to host and have them spend money here. But I appreciate the question, George, and that is a valid answer. But I just want to let you know that's more fear-mongering when they say more people are going to come. They would have been here already. I appreciate that. Anybody else?
What about the beach?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you very much. What about the beach? Hey, I feel the same way you do. I mean, 2 years ago, that picture would have been legitimate. But, you have to say, what about the beach to all of us? That would be our problem, not Ocean City's problem. Luckily, we'll have pools, multiple, indoor and outdoor. But when you say, what about the beach? I agree with you. So I would think as long as that high school is there, that we will, and this would be better for government to answer this, but I do believe that they'll continue to replenish just like they do up and down the coast. But that's a DEP question. Yes, sir. Well, okay, yes. What about alcohol?
Can I ask a follow-up question to George at the beach?
Sure.
Before we get the alcohol?
Yes.
Take turns at the microphone.
Hold on.
No, I can hear you, but they can't.
All right.
It sounds
I got you.
And your name?
My name is Chip. I'm a year-round resident here in Ocean City, New Jersey.
Thanks, Chip.
Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for addressing the questions. My question is regarding the beach. Are you aware of the status, the designation of that beach between 5th and 7th Street?
I'm not sure, Chip. I'm not sure what you mean.
Okay, I'll be specific then. It's a designated surfing beach.
Yes?
It's designated, I don't know the rules and regulations or the city bylaws on it, but
Right.
it's specifically designated for surfers. In other words, they have a guard there, and they try to exclude
bathers, they go to the beach, but they can't go in the ocean because it's a designated surfing beach.
Right.
What would, if you were given this approval for the hotel, what are your plans regarding any potential requests of that beach changes its current designation?
I don't see why we would change the designation. I think we would keep it the way it is, just like our history. You know, it's hard for me to understand how Ron Johns didn't survive when, you know, they're just a few blocks away there. But, you know, 7th Street is my favorite as far as that goes. But I think that's a question, again, you know, that's our issue. We have, luckily, if you look at Avalon and Stone Harbor together, there's 7 miles. We have 8 miles of beach. So, you know, you walk a couple of blocks now, it's not really a big deal, but you have a beautiful walk on the boardwalk. That wasn't for me, was it?
It's your new IT company.
Touche. Give him some love on that.
So I understand your plans that if you were approved for the hotel,
Yes.
are you going to ask the city to change the designation of that beach as a surfing beach to a beach that's accessible, an ocean that's accessible by now your clients coming into the hotel?
Absolutely not. And thank you for that question.
Thank you for your
Thank
answer.
you.
Excuse me, if anybody would like to speak, just come up and can file the line. Instead of people standing out and calling out, just come to the back of the line and everybody will get a turn. Mr. Mita, could you also maybe share with people transportation and how Icona does in your other?
Yeah, so we were asked about that as far as parking and transportation. We have a fleet of 7 vans, which proudly hail from Mita Leasing, a very good company. They're interested in vans. But we have, and when people talk about, some people have asked where are the workers. So today, Wonderland has about 100 employees. We'll have maybe like 100, 125. But notably, 35% of all our summer help are J1s. And the J1 designation, we get them from Romania, we get them from Poland, Ukraine, and so on and so forth. So they don't have any cars. So that's one group, and we pick them up. And most of them live in Wildwood, they take bus. I mean, these people work really hard. And we tell our people, we say, listen, the impression that these countries are going to get is only being Icona. So make sure we treat them with warmth, welcome, and love so they can go back and talk about how great America is. So that's 35% of our workforce. Another full 25% of our workforce is college, high school. And so I would say most of them, just like they do in our Cape May, Avalon, Stone Harbor, they live locally, so they'll ride bikes and so on. Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Mita. I have people who are afraid to talk to you, so I have a couple of questions.
That's great. Well, what's your name?
Judy.
Judy, thank you.
Okay. I love your building. You really do very good work. You've actually built around me where I live down here, and I have no objection really to anything that you've built so far.
Thank you.
And I think you do quality. I just am concerned about how it's going to affect. I'm not far from Wonderland.
Right.
One question that just came up with this PowerPoint up, 375 parking spaces. How will those be designated?
So by law, by code, you have to have one parking space per room.
Right.
So 252 will be designated towards the hotel, and then we're hoping. I mean, obviously, we'll have weddings, but the other ones will be, if anybody wants to park there, just like the parking lot across the street, they'll pay a fee and we'll park there.
Okay, because you had mentioned valet, so you'll have a valet section, and then that will add parking to our.
It'll add 100 spots.
Okay.
So we're going from 0 spots to 100 spots. We're going from 3,000 people coming to Wonderland to max of 1,000 people at the hotel.
I'm sure I'm not enlightening you by telling you that one of the things that makes people really sad is to see the rides go away.
Yes.
I'm sure you're familiar with places in the Poconos that are slamming it and doing very well financially.
Oh, I'm very familiar. You're talking about Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just cleaning up there.
Yeah.
Their profit is incredible.
Yeah, they're the most profitable hotels in the country.
Yeah. Is there room in your plan somewhere to increase the ride capacity and make more of a Poconos type resort out of this so that we can have more of our rides. Is that a possibility?
I think that's a great question. I would say, we gave a little sneak preview tonight that that is a possibility. The difference between us and Wolf Lodge, and I'd love to have their statement, is that they're literally, they need like 25 acres per site. They're huge. But their amusements, they're not amusements as we know them down here. They're strictly indoor water parks. We've been there, so they're pretty spectacular. And the difference between the Poconos and actually the shore, and not a lot of people realize this, they've now become full-time resorts, meaning,
Yes.
We're only busy in the summer,
Yes.
but everybody's up there skiing in the winter, but now they're going up there in the summers too. So they were ahead of the curve. I don't think we're ever going to get that kind of, I'll cite Bart Gladstein, who has built a huge, it's as big as Wolf, he's built a huge, if you haven't gone there, you should see it. They're not doing well at all.
Why?
For the same reason, you can't get people, the gamblers don't come to swim. They come to swim in dollars, but they don't come to swim in like the water park. So that's really the
So you
issue.
feel this would not be marketable for more of a year-round, not necessarily in February, but more of a year-round environment? You feel it's not marketable?
No, I think we're absolutely going to try it. But when we say year-round, that would take us from maybe 15% occupancy to 30% occupancy. Because again, the Poconos, they're skiing in the winter, and in the summer, there's people, they're year-round resort right now.
And water skiing, I know.
Yeah. And that's why I think, Bart Gladstein did a great job over there, but they're just not getting the people. Because A, they don't have a casino license, and B, people, when you say I'm going to take my kids, and I don't want to get into Atlantic City right now, but they missed a great opportunity.
Yes.
It's not a place you want to take your kids, and that's just a fact. But thank you for the question. The answer is we may sneak a couple rides in there.
I think.
We already bought two yesterday. We bought the Batman collection, we bought the helicopter, and we bought the jet.
I think that would make a lot of people much happier to see our rides come back.
I'm hoping they're happy. It's going to cost us a couple million to, move the first wheel and light it up. $500,000 lights alone.
Well, money's no object if you're making us happy. You mentioned the redevelopment money, which is of course very interesting.
Yes.
Do those redevelopment dollars expire? Like, is there a period of time, or is this something that goes on then forever?
Well, you mean as far as the $1 million a year?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's the tax dollars, and they don't expire once it goes into redevelopment. It's a great question. The redevelopment zone, right, Mike? I want to make sure I'm right on this. That that would continue.
It's 30 years.
Is it 30?
30.
30
I
years.
thought there was, something of a sunset on it.
So then, but for the 30 years, we get 95% of the tax revenues. Year 31 it would revert back to the 35%.
And who sunsets that? Is it the state or the?
I'm not sure I'm going to be alive to see the end of this thing sunset.
That's right. What am I worried about? All right. Yeah. Is it the state or the municipality that sunsets? Statutory. Okay. And while I was standing here, you mentioned the J1 folks who,
Yes.
actually my kids worked at Wonderland, so I'm familiar with, and a lot of these kids really worked very, very hard.
Oh,
They
yeah.
did. They were very happy to be here. Where are you going to go?
Well, that's something that they do. Again, we have a lot of them in Wildwood. There's some outside on Cape May. They find a way. The agencies that we deal with, they mostly find a way. There's some of the Morris, they have a facility there, and some
Right,
of our
I know.
Avalons and Harbor
And
people
actually,
do
there
there.
used to be some here that would pass the J1s. I think
Yeah.
we might have one left.
Yes,
I'm just concerned about
yeah,
where they would go.
yeah. But there's, there is housing in Ocean City in that price range that will house them too.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, good luck. If you get us more rides, I think you'll get a lot of good work.
All right, so we have your vote. Give her some love. Thank you very much. My son is still here. Used to do, please show her the Batman helicopter. Yeah, please. Yes, sir.
My name is Robin Schaefer. I'm a Ocean City resident up on the north end. It's 2nd Street near the boardwalk. And I'd like to know where the Robin ride is. Is that a big possibility? But,
Well, we do have you push a button and it has Batman and Robin talking about it, so we're happy to say that you will be featured in the Batman rides.
I appreciate that. I do have a couple of questions, basically from people that I know and I've talked to. Their concerns. A number of people have expressed concerns that this hotel will compete with people who put their homes into Airbnb or VRBO. And as someone who rented my house out for the first 10 years that I owned it, I can tell you that it's a very different clientele. But I don't want to answer the question for you.
Right.
I just know that bringing my own linens and having to change the beds and do my own cleaning, that's different than when I go to a 5-star resort over in Paris or Milan or something like that. So I just wanted to ask you what.
Yeah, so what we've seen, Robin, and we get asked that a lot, if you go to any hotel conferences, the big ones in New York or California, it comes up. And the answer is, we have seen no share market from Airbnb loss. What Airbnb is taking the place of, sadly, I talked to Leon Brisbaum about this, and he said, yeah, that's what's happening. Leon owns Burger, and they're the ones who are losing. The people who rented from Burger to Berkshire Hathaway, you pay 10-12% commission, which can, get into some serious dollars, where I think Airbnb might be a couple of percent. So those are the people, we don't see any share market. The hotel guests, the transient guest who comes, they don't want to go buy the groceries. The Airbnb person, they're stopping at the Acme, they're stopping at the ShopRite, they're stocking up on food, and it's a different customer. So this wouldn't affect Airbnb one iota.
So in a sense, you're talking about bringing new business into a tourist town, business or clientele with dollars to spend at a higher market rate, in a sense.
Correct. It's happened everywhere we have.
The second question I have is kind of speculative, and I'm asking you to speculate on this. My family started coming here back in the 1930s. Always rented. I guess they'd be called shoebies. I was a shoebie before I became a full-time resident here. And my parents came here in the 70s. I've read the books. I have a copy of that book that you were reading from earlier. If the Delaware Hotel hadn't failed, when other hotels like that hadn't failed, where do you think we would be with Wonderland? Because there aren't hotels up on the north end.
Well, if you look at the top of that slide there, I didn't say it, but it's on the slide because I felt this way, that Wonderland failed partly because we failed Wonderland. But we didn't know we were failing Wonderland. I mean, I talked to the Morris. I'm talking in a format, there's newspapers here, there was TVs at the other meeting. And I talked to Jack and Will Morey, sadly Jack passed, and said, hey, why don't we do a joint venture? And they said, you can't. You don't have to. They literally said, look at Wildwood and their transient population, look at Ocean Cities. So thankfully, Scott Simpson and Brian have done a great job in Playland and Castaway Cove. But, we just can't support it. Had they kept up the population. And by the way, we need more than 250 hotel rooms here. Now I'm just talking as a citizen, I'm talking as a taxpayer here. We would welcome it, but it is tough to make money when you don't have liquor or, the ground, nobody's knocking down duplexes and building hotels. If they knock down the hotel, motel, and build another hotel, I've been asked if I would do that at Seaspread, if I would buy it, but to me, that's not a viable area for that either. We lost the 34th Street market. We lost the ice cream store that was part of that. And so that, it's just not easy.
Yeah, I grew up going to Campbell's, Mulford's, love those, just love the experience.
I'm glad you didn't ask my wife that, Robin.
17th Street Market. There's so many things, so many businesses that have gone out of business. It breaks my heart. You have Ward's went out of business a couple years ago, and there are a lot of retail spaces that are not making ends meet, and they're going out of business on Asbury. Places that have
So are you for or against, Robin?
I'm for this project because you need to bring more people who are willing to spend some money. If you're gonna bus them over to Asbury and get them out on the boardwalk, all the better. So I applaud your efforts.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you very much, Robin.
I'm not a foreigner.
Okay, and your name, I'm sorry.
Paul.
Paul, thank you.
I live on Plaza Place. I
Right.
have a couple of properties. And like you, I've been coming here for 45 years where I met my pretty wife who was a waitress at Flanders.
There you go.
So we have that in common, but that may be all we have in common. Because on that beautiful street, Plaza Place, which I consider iconic,
Agreed.
iconic Ocean City,
Agreed.
and you're saying your hotel is iconic. And there used to be a movie out called Cool Hand Luke, where a warden and a prisoner had what they call a failure to communicate. And what I think we have here is a failure to communicate.
That's probably why your name is Paul.
Yeah, that's right. It's not Newman, but what I don't understand is, with your history in Ocean City and your professed love of Ocean City, and I'm not saying that facetiously, I do believe it. But what I don't understand is how you can, saying you come to Ocean City, you understand the spirit, the character of the people, you're going to put a monstrosity of cement and steel on my corner. It doesn't fit in with anything here. And I have to tell you that because it's forgetting all the hotels and all the, I feel like I'm at a hotelier convention. I don't understand how the very basic, intrinsic, simple fact of that is an all viable, and I stand against it.
So, Paul, first of all, I appreciate it, although I will have to differ with you. Like you said, we're not going to agree with everything. It is certainly not cement and steel. That is cement and steel.
Okay, well, cement, steel, adobe, plaster of Paris, I don't know what it is, and that's not important to me. What's important is 9 stories that's probably going to put several blocks in shadow till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Not that that's the most important thing, but you know, we like a relative view of the sunrise, and it's going to be gone. And in my mind, I don't know why you can't come up with some alternative, because it just seems like it's so extreme. What you're doing is so extreme. I mean, we have, you know, Plaza Place.
Sure.
Beautiful homes.
Beautiful.
They're all 2-story homes. And then this is going to be like the Great Wall of, you know, of Berlin. It's going to be the Iron Curtain in front of us. Sorry. I mean it.
So, Paul, when you say come up with an alternative, with the cupola, it's 8 stories high. A block over is 14 stories high. If I'm you on Plaza Place, and obviously, you know, you care about your place, I'm in the real estate business, as you know.
Yeah.
And I would tell you that this will raise your property values, because it's done it everywhere we've been. And I would ask you, if you want to speak, please, you know, we have the microphone. So, I would tell you this, Paul, and I'm not being facetious here. If it was me living on Plaza Place, and you have 3,000+ people there on a Saturday, with all the noise and amusements made, versus having somebody drive down Plaza Place and see this hotel, and we're going to do a shade study, so you'll know exactly what the difference is. And if you look, I mean, the Ferris wheel, you have the Ferris wheel back there, you have the log flume, you have the noise and whatnot.
Pardon me, I've lived there. One of the properties I have is right next to the corner.
Do you live in that or do you rent it?
Our family has it.
But do you live in it?
I live in both of them.
So you live in the one you just told me right next to it?
Yes, we have another house, 841 up the street.
No, I just want to make sure you live in the one closest to the amusement park.
Yes, I have lived it. I own it, so I live earlier. Yes, but the point I'm trying to make is that amusement park noise was always kind of pleasant. It was not Morley Brothers in Wildwood. It was not Disneyland. It was a small family, little rides. It never, in fact, I could talk to the people right across the street, and I'll bet they didn't like it. So it was never a noise issue.
Well, Paul, I appreciate that. We've asked for, alternates. And what would you like to see there?
Something smaller.
Like, give me an example.
I'm not an architect. You give me an example. Show me some things, and I'll say what I think.
So, would you rather see homes there?
Yeah, probably.
Condominium?
I don't know. All I'm saying is that, and pardon me for calling it a monstrosity, I know you sunk a lot into it, but as an objective guy coming in, that looks like something that fell out of the sky. It's like a battleship.
That, I would have to disagree, but I appreciate it. I see your point of view, and I totally appreciate it. But, I don't think it's a monstrosity. I think it's a landmark, beautiful hotel. So, Paul, I totally understand.
Okay.
And I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Put that down in your little book now. You have one dissenting view.
Understand. No, I appreciate it, Paul.
And like Paul, I actually live in that little corner of the world too. My address is 840 East 6th Street, and I spent the last 20 years sitting at a dining room at the Ferris wheel. And I am 100% for the hotel. I've been afraid to even speak about it because I don't want anybody to hurt my building, retaliation for speaking my mind. But unless you have my bedroom is literally on that parking lot, and I'm very aware of the noise, the teenagers, the police that would be there all night because I'd be woken up from the lights, and it's not as quiet as everybody thinks it is. I look forward to bringing my kids are now, my youngest is 15 up to 38, and I have 2 grandsons. So I would love for them to be down here and enjoy the winter as much as they enjoy the summer months. And I think it's a great idea. I don't think that I'm going to look out my window and cover my eyes in disgust. I think it's great for the city, and I don't think it's going to hurt. I do rent my place out for 6 weeks, and the only reason we've been doing that for the past 2 years was because instead of tearing down a building, we remodeled our building, and that's the only way I can pay off what we did instead of tearing it down. You see, and I love this city as much as everybody who lives here year round. And I just think it's great for the economy, and it's not going to hurt my rentals or make me less, interested in coming down here with family and friends. I think it would be safer, actually, for me. I'm a little nervous there when I come down here in the winter. It's very quiet here. And quite frankly, I think having 7th Street not be a surf beach, so I have to walk 5.
That's a great point of view yourself.
And that's not even with your hotel. I know it's such a strange place to have a surf beach, but that's just my opinion. So I think when it comes down to just a difference of opinions, he's a homeowner, I'm a homeowner. We're both affected by this. He's affected negatively, and I'm affected positively. So it's a difficult situation, but we can't make everybody happy. So,
Thank you very much, Lisa. I really appreciate it. Eustace. There's a boy named Sue.
I'm Jack.
Jack,
I'm
thank you.
908 Brighton. Real quick, just a couple minutes. First, back to the beach.
Yeah.
If you do put the hotel, the question is, even if they lose this designation of a surf beach, is the beach big enough? I mean, because traditionally, historically, it's not.
Right.
And unless they come up with something new, it's always going to be a small beach there. But if it does stay a surf beach, where are those 1,000 people going to go? I mean, they're coming to Ocean City, you'll have the pools, but they're coming to the beach town. Because if it's not for the beach, it could be off the beach then, right?
Sure.
So we're going to take them over Brighton?
Well, I think we get, and you probably know this, Jack, we get on an average weekend down here, I believe, and the councilman knows this, over 100,000 people. And over a weekend. So, you know, you're talking like 1%. We have 8 miles of beach. We have vans that, you know, we're certainly going to take them wherever they want to go. We
So
have
you would take them to other beaches?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, because I've had people tell me that, that's crazy, I missed that. And I apologize because I couldn't make the first meeting that you were at. But give me a quick timeline, how you ended up with the property. I know that the mayor fell into financial problems. Is that when you bought the property? You own the property now?
I own the property for 4 years.
Okay, and how did you come about that?
By paying a lot of money.
What's that?
What's that, Jack?
What did you pay for that property?
You know what, it's public information, but not all of it is public information because I bought part of the, you know, I bought part of it from the bank.
I understand that it may not all be part of public information, but you are asking to circumvent the normal process. You're asking not to go through the zoning process that everyone else would go through, and then go before the zoning board, public hearings, and that kind of stuff. So I kind of think if you're asking for special information, so you ended up buying the property, what did you pay for it?
Well, first of all, Jack, let me talk about the zoning. Redevelopment zone is zoning.
No,
I'm sorry, Jack, I let you speak.
I just want to correct you. Your redevelopment is not Ocean City zoning procedures as normal. It is under state law, state program that comes in, but it's not the normal zoning.
Am I okay to talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, the exact opposite is true. In redevelopment, you still have to go before planning and zoning. And we have Mike, my lawyer here. Mike, if you'd like to answer that question, I think it'd be even better.
Sure. That's great.
So, just everyone knows, Mike
Mike,
Lowry.
why don't you-
Evening, everyone. My name is Mike Lowry. I'm returning from the United States. Goldstein, my partner Steve Mita, and I represent Icona connection with this project. So your question as to redevelopment, it is, and it's a normal zoning. It is a zoning procedure that is promulgated by the legislature, just as the municipal land use law is, so with redevelopment. It's a process
It's
that.
not part of the same
I'm trying to answer
statute.
your
It's not
question.
part of the same
Hey,
statute.
Jack.
So
We're
I'm just
trying
trying
to
to
answer your
say,
question.
I can disagree with them.
No, but
This is, okay, go ahead.
I asked only Jack, I give you the respect to let you ask your question. I asked only give you the respect to this.
You have my respect, go ahead.
Thank you. So the process itself largely mirrors the standard process that we would amend the ordinance through the municipal land use law. That's going from council, it goes to the planning board, who will review the proposed first redevelopment designation, ultimately the redevelopment plan. This idea that it's circumnavigating the existing zoning is far from the truth. It goes through the same process, it's just, again, for this specific site in question. That's the difference, instead of the overall zone.
A property owner can go, he could go to the zoning board, file for a variance, and that would be site specific. It wouldn't create any kind of legal way for any other property in town to ask for the same thing, because it's site specific. So let me ask you a question. So why aren't you going through the normal zoning process and doing the redevelopment? What are the advantages to you? I didn't hear about the advantages, supposed advantages to us, but what is the advantage to Mr. Mita?
So it's a fair question, and I think what the first part of the question is precedent, and you're concerned about precedent seeking this here. I would say every request for a redevelopment designation, it's got to be analyzed on a case-by-case basis. So the fear of there being a precedent set, it's simply not the case. There's no precedent involved in redevelopment designation. The next part as to why we are seeking this is because we believe that under the statute, under the criteria promulgated by the legislature, this site would qualify as an area in need for development. That because the existing condition of that site, the building, the improvements on the site meet the definition of an area in need of development under the law, which entitles the property owner to seek that designation and the corresponding changes to the zone. And I would say if there's any other property that meet that designation under the law, they would be entitled to seek that reclassification as an area of need for development.
But you didn't answer my question. Because you can, whatever the condition of the property, and it's debatable, because I don't believe that's the way. I mean, it was operating a month and a half ago. There were 3,000 people there, right? Kids were using it. I'm gonna assume that the fire department or the zoning officer would have shut it down if it was unsafe for the public. But why not just go to the zoning board? Why get that designation? Yes, it's your legal right to ask for it, but you haven't told me what the difference is.
Well, I think there's certainly, you said benefit to the developer, I think there's benefits associated for the municipality as well. Obviously, when a pilot scheme.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Stop telling me about how you're here to help me. Tell me why it's helping you.
Because it is, the way the redevelopment process works is to work really hand in hand with the municipality and the redeveloper. So the question is, why are we doing it? Because it's a process that is available to the applicant, and we believe we meet the criteria that is required from the statute.
So you're basically asking citizens of Ocean City, who ultimately will decide this either through our elected officials or changing our elected officials, to change the standard procedure for any business, any property in the city that comes forward, just because it's something that you can ask for from the state.
No, that is 100% not what we are doing.
Okay, then why are you doing it for redevelopment?
We're doing it through redevelopment because the property itself qualifies, we believe, for redevelopment designation, which allows us to amend the underlying zoning for the site to allow for this proposed use, to take an underutilized property and allow for updates to the ordinance for a new project to be constructed.
And exactly how would that be different than applying for a variance and going through the normal procedure?
It's completely different. It's a whole different process.
No. I know the process is different. No, I know the process is different.
Jack,
Why?
to your question, what's the benefit to the developer, which is me? The benefit to the developer is expediency, number one. Okay, so in other words, if we go to planning and zoning, it could go on for years and years and years. If the council, I don't know what's good about that, but okay. If the council decides, then it's a much speedier process. It's going to take us 2 years to build, and we can build it. And if the city decides not to do it, then you're looking at years, and then I, as a developer, have to say, you know what? I don't have 10 years. I'm 7 years old. So I
appreciate that answer, because that's exactly what I would be doing for. Because I've been in your spot as a applicant before zoning boards. I've also sat on zoning boards, and I've also been in the audience, things like this. Like, you're trying to make an assumption that if you don't build that hotel, we're going to end up with this a blank piece of property on the Ocean City Boardwalk that no one's going to have any interest in.
Well, I'll tell you this, Jack. Just like I gave you a straight answer there, there's only one other option, and that's a buy right for retail stores. And when people say, oh, we don't want to change, the whole city has changed. And you don't want stores there. You don't want stores.
Maybe I do.
As a developer, it'd be hard to rent out. So what I would do is I'd put it up for sale, or build.
Right. I mean, the city, under the same process you're talking about, the city could make it redevelopment, but condemn the property, pay you off, take the property, and then put it out.
Sold.
Sold. Good. Well, maybe remember that.
I'm saying it in the public. Sold.
So what's the number? What would be the number? What's your investment in it?
Well, I guess better than my investment in it is what's the appraisal? Okay, so the bank, when you have a loan, they appraise the property, and the property appraised for $25 million, and I've spent a little over $1.2 million a year to carry it over the last 4+ years. So that's what I would sell it for. And I think Banda Soleil just went back on the market today for $25 million, which is not nearly as good a site as Wonderland. So if you, Jack, you're in development, believe me, it'd be different if I didn't live here, but this is putting my family through, some heartache too. So if somebody came up and I said that at the last meeting, I'd be glad to sell it.
Okay. Well, again, I think the public should know it would be an option for the city to purchase it, put a bond out.
Sure.
And then put it out for proposals for people to develop it in a way that they see fit.
Well, the city would have to buy it first.
The city could condemn it, take it from you,
Right.
put out proposals for it, yes.
Yes.
But again, it's not going to be It's not like if you invested 25 million, you're looking at zero. It's not gonna go from 25 million to zero.
It's not gonna go from 25 million to zero, but as I said to you, but Jack, I'm 70 years old, we're talking very frank here.
Right.
I don't have the 10 years, I don't wanna spend the 5 years. And redevelopment, no, but redevelopment, as you know, is expediency, so I'm telling you up front, if somebody wants to buy it, I would absolutely sell it tomorrow. And I think one thing we have to be careful of, and I don't know where Lisa is, but I appreciate your courage, Lisa, because I've been in the business all my life, and most of the people who come are the ones who are upset, and they talk on the microphone, although I have to say we've had a great relationship tonight, I'm very thankful and grateful for that. But we have 20,000 taxpayers, and if we have 50 people against it, that tells me that there's 19,950 who are for it. And so I would tell you that I think council has to be sure that they're listening to the whole of Ocean City.
Oh, then I would support you in putting that up for a public referendum. Does the mayor have any financial interest in the property or the outcome of this?
I'm going to take a 6-second pause here, Jack. That question, I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
All right.
I understand there's a lot of passion here tonight.
I would
like to ask that we be respectful. Okay? I understand it's a question, but let's be respectful.
Tony, you're asking, Jack, you're asking personal questions, but let me answer the question.
It's a legitimate question. I don't know.
It's a legitimate question if you and I are in Summers Point at the crowd trap or something. It's not a legitimate public question.
No, it's a public question, and it's a public question because you're asking for special disposition. Does the mayor have any financial interest in the property and the outcome of this?
Yes, it is my business.
No, Jack, it's actually not your business, but in the essence of goodwill, I'm going to answer it, which is not something that we receive from you. The mayor has zero financial gain. The mayor has gone through hell in this city. Being a friend of the mayor, and if it wasn't for me coming along and buying it, it would have been shuttered 4 years ago, Jack. And being a friend of the mayor has killed me. I'm going to the Crown Bank right now, and the Crown Bank would be a boutique hotel. But because the papers were there, Mita's got a special deal with the mayor, and he's going to sell in the parking lots and so on. So you know what I did, Jack? I backed out of a very good deal. And as a developer, you do know that's a hard thing to do. So there, you got your answers.
And as a former elected official,
questions.
you gotta have a little thicker skin. That was just an honest question.
No, that was
And at the
wrong.
end- No, it was an honest question.
Hasn't the mayor taken enough?
No.
No. Okay. Well, you wouldn't want to walk a mile with you, I'll tell you that. Won't miss that one yet.
My experience has been, I've been there, brother. I've been there. I don't act like a baby and cry about it. I'm a former mayor.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sheila Harter. I'm a
Thank you.
resident now. I've been coming here since I was a teenager. I have to say, I really have been supporting this whole project. Since I've lived down here, which is now about 24 years. It's that slow eating away of the money that comes into this town from tourists. If we didn't have tourism, we'd be a wasteland. That's simply the way it is. They bring the money in. And I would hate to see it happen on the boardwalk, but I'm saying it happened on Raspberry Avenue. In one block, when Papa Carlos goes bye-bye, there will be 6 empty stores on one block of Raspberry Avenue. And that's like, I have never, in all my years coming down here since I was a teenager, that has never happened. And they just keep going away. And people have, said to me, well, it's probably because the rent is too high, or, you know what I mean, or going after you. If money is always at the issue, an empty store isn't bringing anything. So that's why I'm so in support of it, because I think it will bring a little bit of the glory back, for one of the better words for it, that I really, I'm getting up there, I'm older than you are. But years ago, as a teenager. So yeah, it is important to me, but that's the one thing that I don't think people are, I sometimes wonder if they're paying any attention to that. Because I've been a lot of places, when you start seeing empty stores for the
It's a slippery slope.
it is really giving you a sign that something needs to be done. If this is it, more power to you.
Thank you very much.
I'll put my back to you
Yes.
and talk to people. My name is Joe Croce, I'm Pat Croce's brother.
Joe, can you talk into the microphone?
And I know what you're saying. He's the better looking brother, right? That's what you're saying. But, you know, we have houses here. My dad bought, I think it was 910 West with my mom. And when we came to Ocean City, it was magic. And that's why people love Ocean City. It is magic. When my dad passed away, my mom and I bought a duplex. And I remember the advertising said, commanding ocean view. I had to hold my wife over the rail, hold her feet. You could look down and see the ocean. It was either Steve Booth or Mark Grimes, one of those great realtors, put that in here. And then when she couldn't handle the duplex, we ended up buying a single family on Gardens, or Beachy Gardens, across the street from Dolly and King Brown. And a mother lived there, 101-year-old mother. And we would always say, Ocean City's magic. You buy a house here, you can live another 10 years. And at least that's what the realtors would say. But I know Eustace, and the Mita family and the Croce family go back pretty far. Very entrepreneurial, very enthusiastic, definitely the gift of gab, but they have a passion for Ocean City. And I would just like to say, you know, you won't find a better human being, a better gentleman, a better individual than Eustace. You can tell. He's not a private equity guy. He's not an out-of-state developer. He's not going to flip it. You know, he wants to build it as a legacy. And I'm just so thrilled that he wants to do this. He's able and capable. And that's all I want to say. So thanks for your time.
Thank you, Joe.
Hello, Mr. Mita. My name is Terry.
Karen?
Terry.
Terry, thank you, Terry.
And I just want to let you know that I am against your project. And there's several questions I have, but the reason why I jumped out of my seat was when you mentioned the J1 workers. Every year, the retail stores have help wanted signs in their stores. They cannot get enough workers to work in their shops. All the shops, the food and beverage shops, the retail, clothing stores, they have so much difficulty, okay? And then, on the other side of it, the J1 workers are walking door to door, also knocking on my door, okay, at the Midtown, okay? Trying to find rooms. There's no place in Ocean City for them to get affordable housing. There's two places. But those two places, one is terribly horrendous. Okay, I don't have to read names. The other one is just a little bit above it in substandard accommodations for these people. And I've met so many of them. I've been in Ocean City. I've been physically in this area since '76. My husband was in this area since the 40s. Okay. He graduated from Ocean City High School. I did not. Okay. The J1 workers do not have any place to stay in town. Do you have any suggestions for affordable housing to put the J1 workers who would be working at here?
I know.
So would you be taking them via your vans from Wildwood to Ocean City to work in your hotel?
We're taking in vans from Wildwood to our other hotels right now, yes. But as you said, there's already J1s here, so they must be staying somewhere. I mean, we didn't invent the ratio of J1s is probably the same at, I would guess at Flanders and probably the same at Portugal.
But then if you're saying that you're gonna have 100 and some workers, how many did you put?
Yes.
Okay, so let's say you're gonna have 100. There's no way you're gonna get 100 more J1 workers than are already around. Okay, they cannot find the housing. There's people that are on free cycle trying to get them bicycles or old cars to travel to get to their jobs. Okay, that's a statement. You do not have to supply any affordable housing for any of your employees. I understand that, okay? But hospitably, they need to find a place to stay and not be knocking on the neighborhood's doors, trying to find rooms to rent. That's one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna have to wrap it now. I said we'd be finished at 6:30. I'll be in the back if, I can hang around a little bit more if there's any more questions for me. Be glad to stay. But we're gonna have to wrap it now. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll be right back here. There's a whole line behind you too. So we ran out of time. But thank you very much. Thank you all for coming out. You can reach me by phone on our website. If anybody would like to get together privately, I have no problem with that either. Thank you very much.
Hey. Best friends. Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you.